California Governor Gavin Newsom wants badly to be president. So we thought he'd take a moment and explore tonight how the education system he's leading in the Golden State is doing. And by every metric, they're failing. Despite spending over $23,000 per student every year, California continually ranks near the bottom academically nationally. California is basically the airport food of education, overpriced and terrible for you. According to last year's test scores, only half of California's students read at grade level, and 30% failed to meet even the most basic standards. What that means is that California students are bombing in school, even by California standards. Math scores were a tragic equation. Only 37% were grade level proficient. Astonishingly, 75% of 8th graders in Los Angeles public schools can't do basic algebra. So if you send your kids to California schools, you have cause to worry about them getting dumber and more trans. Keep in mind, the very LA public school system where Johnny can't solve for X is the place they might want him to believe he has 2 X chromosomes. In the LA public schools, they literally have mandatory ethnic studies graduation requirements, but the most basic skills are left unachieved. And when the public schools fail, often the adults in those systems try to block the exits to stop families from leaving. American Culture Project senior fellow Corey DeAngelis has repeatedly told us that teachers' unions are determined to eliminate school choice options.
The politicians to fight to trap those kids in their failure factories that we call public schools. They want to continue brainwashing those kids, but they also want to continue getting the money per student that they get in the public school system. If they fight against school choice, that money won't leave their institutions that are controlled by the unions.
For decades, California's Prop 98 has locked in billions of dollars to a government-run monopoly, ensuring that school districts and unions get paid regardless of whether the students learn anything. Funding doesn't follow the student. It is trapped inside an inferno of failure. Families who want alternatives are stuck paying twice, once in taxes and again for private options. But one proposed ballot initiative aims to finally break this cycle. The Children's Educational Opportunity Act, or CEO Act, gives every child a $17,000 education savings account. Parents, not unions, would then control the direction of their child's education. The money follows the student to whatever option works best: charter school, private school, religious school, homeschool, online, or even a hybrid blend. It's different than a voucher program where funding is use it or lose it. Any unused funds in the ESA can carry over to a following year and even be used for college or trade school. So is the CEO Act the parents' answer to California's failing education system? Will it make the ballot in the upcoming election? And can it withstand the teachers' union's deep pockets to actually obtain voter approval? Joining me now are 2 people committed to getting this initiative on the California ballot in 2026. Dr. Kevin McNamee is a leadership team member at the CEO Act Committee and the former mayor of Thousand Oaks, California. And Jess Enos is the president of AV Parents for Education. Kevin, I'll start with you. How will the CEO Act help California families?
Well, it gives all the California children to have equal access to a quality education regardless of race, family income, or zip code. The question is always asked, why do the students from wealthy families have all the education options? Because they've got the money. The ones who are left behind are the low-income, moderate-income families who may be locked into a failing public school to get a poor education, a poor-paying job that keeps them in the poor neighborhood and continues the cycle of poverty. This is how we can break the cycle of poverty, by allowing the parents to be in charge of their child's education, not politicians or bureaucrats.
And Jess, what got you involved with this movement, and why do you believe the CEO Act is the solution to California's education challenges?
I'm a mom of 3. I currently homeschool through a charter, and I feel like with most parents, we kind of got jumped into this in California, and we really just want to have control back of our child's education. And a lot of that has to do with, financially, being able to afford to homeschool if we choose, to be able to go send our children to private school. And I'm really passionate about giving parents the choice on how their child is educated.
And Kevin, if parents have that choice and can design education with really a cafeteria style system, maybe there's a course you want to homeschool, maybe there's an extracurricular at the traditional school, giving that kind of flexibility, will that mean an end to the California public school system as we know it?
Absolutely not. If you look at all the other states who have school choice in place with this type of opportunity, none have closed because of it. Actually, what has happened is that the class sizes in those other states that have this type of a program in place, allowing the parents to decide whether they're going to private school, public school, faith-based school, homeschool, or charter school, is that the class sizes in the public schools became smaller, instruction became more individualized, and lo and behold, the test scores for those public school students went up, and it saved the state a boatload of money because the private school, faith-based school, and homeschools received less funding than the public schools, who get right now $23,000 per kid. With 30 students in a class, that's $690,000 per classroom in California, and only 13% of it is getting to the classroom itself. Our public school teachers are gems, they're dynamite, but they're being told what to teach and how to teach, and they are underpaid. Where they get out of college, the only opportunities they have is start at $40,000 a year, become a public school teacher, or go drive a truck for FedEx and UPS at $150,000 a year. We need to attract the best and brightest, and the only way you can do that is pay them. The CEO Act gives that opportunity, because now it's going to be up to the parent to decide where that child goes to school.
It's a really revolutionary concept that competition could improve the ecosystem for everyone. And I wonder, Jess, if you had the public school and charter schools, private schools, all competing for your business, all trying to show you how their specific solution could help your family, could advance the achievement of your student, how would that feel? That would be very different than how it is today.
Yes, it would be very different. I think it would highlight that they really do care about our children's education, and that should be put at the forefront of all that the public education system does, and private school, and giving parents that they actually can have a choice. As a homeschool mom, it is so frowned upon here, and to feel like that you're an outcast because you want to try to give your child the best possible education, it would be unreal to have all options available to me as a parent to then be able to decide.
Well, what I can tell you is that is what we have in Florida. This is not an imaginary place like Narnia. Where I'm from, the parent actually gets to choose among a variety of options, and there's a growing ecosystem of providers who want to say, hey, look, we know your student may excel in music or in performance arts or in engineering or mathematics. Let us show you how we can meet that need. And it's very different than the strategy of just moving kids like cattle through the public education system. Now, Kevin, it took us a while to get there in Florida. These ideas really started with Jeb Bush as governor in the 90s, and Ron DeSantis culminated that strategy in the unlocking of this great potential. What is your strategy to obtain political approval for this, and what's the coalition that gets that done?
Great question. In California, we have two avenues in which you can get a law in place. One is the legislation, which is the Assembly, the Senate, and the governor. However, in 1911, California put in place the initiative process, which is the people's law. We bring forth enough signatures, get it on the ballot. If it passes by 50% plus one vote, it now becomes the law of the land. The best example is in 1978, we passed an initiative called Prop 13, and that has been in place. The only way to change an initiative is through another initiative. They can't legislate around it. So we're looking to gather 1.2 million signatures. We're in the signature gathering phase. We need all your viewers and listeners to go to educationopportunity.org. Click on the link that asks you to print, sign, mail back the initiative. So that way we get the 1.2 million signatures. Get your friends, your family, even your enemies. I'm not proud. We'll take everyone's voter's signature in California to get this on the ballot. Now, Matt, also, Milton Friedman, the famous economist, he correctly defined our public school education system as the largest monopoly in our country. It controls the most money and the most students. This frees up those monies so that way the parents can decide where that child goes to fit. And the best is we can do this without raising taxes, with tax-free money, and the parents never handle or touch the money. They direct which school, which tutors, which online classes, the books, the supplies, transportation to and from school, special needs. There's a range of things that it covers. Parents direct it, they never touch it. So that way we know it's going directly to education, not family enrichment.
No,
Do you like
it's-
that concept, my friend?
Yeah, it's a very exciting thing. We wish you well. And you know what we've learned in Florida? It's a lot of the people that maybe traditionally don't think Republican or vote Republican who are benefiting from this system, and now broad bipartisan agreement that empowered and engaged parents are the best thing you can have in a system that functions well for the students. Kevin
Matt,
McNamee, Jesse Enos, thank you both so much for your advocacy.
72% of the voters want this. You're on target, Matt, and thank you for this opportunity. Educationopportunity.org. Thank you, sir.
We thank you both, and we'll be checking back in as your progress continues.